know Bernie Sanders said that, quote, the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails. But there are a lot of people who are not.
Well,
including FBI officials looking into whether national security was compromised because of this server.
Gentlemen, that's going to live in infamy, I promise you. Joining us now is Jennifer Rubin, Washington Post columnist, author of the Right Turn blog at the Washington Post. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
All right, so you wrote several pieces today, as is always the case, and one of them you mentioned the polling in the aftermath of the Democratic debate, and it's titled "What the Democratic Debate Tells Us," and of course Bernie Sanders got more of a bump than Hillary did. So what does it tell us?
I think it tells us that debates don't mean what the pundits think they mean. Either voters assess the debates themselves differently, or they really don't consider them in saying whether they like a candidate or not. It's very possible that more people were introduced to Bernie Sanders than previously knew him. Unlike Hillary Clinton, he doesn't have 100% name ID. It's also possible that people saw what they liked the first time, which was this angry man routine. I don't think that Hillary being really sharp on certain issues is going to affect a whole lot of viewers, at least not initially. If someone proves themselves to be incompetent on policy issues or ignorant on policy issues or consistently out of step with the party, that's another matter. But I think for president, people are making more of a personal choice, an assessment of the entire character and the person's career, as opposed to choosing them because they have this position on taxes or that position. As long as they're within the ideology of whichever party the voter is in, I think the debate is mostly for the benefit of the press and the pundits.
All right, let's move on to another piece you wrote about how the Republican Party should eliminate three candidates. I mean, and most people would think they would be candidates at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to a percentage. But you start with Ben Carson, who, by the way, in two polls, today CNN and in one last week, is beating Hillary Clinton. So it's not just a Republican poll. General election poll is beating Hillary Clinton in two polls, and you say he should step out.
Well, I don't say he should step out. I say that the Republicans should eliminate him from their consideration. And the reason I say that is because he's completely ignorant on foreign policy. He began, you recall, by saying that we should respond to 9/11 with diplomacy, not by a military strike. I don't know very many people in the Republican Party who think that. Then he went even further around the bend by insisting that if we had declared ourselves energy independent, the Saudis would have turned over bin Laden. Well, that's ridiculous. Bin Laden wasn't in Saudi Arabia any longer. He was in a cave, and Saudi Arabia had become his enemy. So Saudi Arabia didn't even have him to turn over. This whole thing is just sort of this pish-posh of buzzwords and misinformation, and just is a troubling lack of basic understanding. My good friends over at Red State, in particular, Leon Wolf, has been one of the ones to point this out. It's almost like he's not bothering to prepare. Maybe this really is just a book tour, and that's all that he's in it for. But if we're looking for a serious commander-in-chief, someone who's going to slice and dice Hillary's foreign policy and propose new measures to make America more respected, stronger in the world, this is not the guy.
Well, I mean, when he was sitting here, he seemed to be very well versed in foreign policy, and you know, you could always educate yourself and surround yourself with the brightest minds and the brightest people.
If you're that ignorant, though, you really don't. When you get to the presidency, the easy issues are decided down below. When issues are brought to you, it's usually because people you have selected, people you have trusted, disagree. And there's no such thing as, well, you'll just do whatever the advisors say. First of all, you may not know enough to select the advisors. And secondly, there are going to be conflicts. You have to know something. You have to have some basic understanding. How do we know he doesn't have the exact same philosophy as Hillary Clinton or as Barack Obama? He sure says a lot of things that sound like that. He doesn't talk about reestablishing an American presence in the Middle East, for example. He doesn't talk about measures to push back Putin. So how do we know what he even thinks?
Well, again, when he was with me a couple of weeks ago, he did address Putin. He did address, you know, the Syrian situation and others. So he has made some statements that I think he's backtracked on in the past. And I know you feel probably the same way about Donald Trump, right?
Well, that's just absurd. He's now taken to blaming George Bush for 9/11. You can be completely against Jeb Bush and still see why that is so silly and so counterproductive.
Well, we agree on that, Jennifer. I think leaving George W. Bush alone is the absolute right thing to do and not bringing him up. Jennifer Rubin will read you at the Right Turn blog at the Washington Post. Thank you. Give me fives next. You've probably heard about the shocking new book, Unlikable, The Problem with Hillary by Edward Klein. It's already skyrocketed to the top of the bestseller list. Ed Klein offers a stunning, powerful expose of Hillary Clinton and her floundering race for the White House. Klein also reveals the angry rivalry between Hillary and Barack Obama. Now, Unlikable retails for $29.95, but you can get it with our free offer. Get this almost $30 value free today. Just go online or call the toll-free number on your screen. That's a $30 value free. Do it now.